Hey y'all, it's Nadia. And this week we've been talking about the beginning, the foundation, the part of our story that usually gets overlooked, not the relationships, not the dramatic moments, but the emotional patterns that started in childhood. And today we're talking about something that doesn't always get recognized, the emotional abandonment wound. Because here's the truth. You can be provided for and still feel emotionally alone. Trust me, I know because I've been there a few times, to be honest, in childhood and adulthood. Let me start by saying this clearly. I was not physically abandoned at all. I had a home, I had structure, I had parents who worked hard and provided. Strict parents at that, who didn't take no shit nor did they about their negotiations on their rules. No negotiations. See, the children of the day would not have stood a chance with my parents because, well, let's just say I didn't play with them. Even though I felt like I barely saw them, I knew shit from sugar. You know the saying now, clock that T. And I just realized what I said may sound like they were abusive, but they were very far from that. They just meant what they said and said what they meant at all times. We had what we needed. There was stability in many ways. So from the outside looking in, nothing appeared to be missing. But emotionally, it felt so different. As a matter of fact, I was the outsider in a lot of situations because of the way they provided, which brought about another abandonment feeling, but I guess I'll get into that at a later time. And emotional experiences don't always match physical reality. You can be surrounded by people and still feel unseen. You can be taken care of and still feel disconnected. And that's where emotional abandonment lives. Growing up, there weren't a lot of deep emotional conversations. We didn't sit around talking about feelings. I mean, who had time for it? They was always at work. We didn't unpack emotions. We didn't process things out loud. My mom didn't say, I love you much, but my dad said it all the time. For her, it was implied, like what's understood don't need to be explained. You know the saying. But I don't know what or how she processed feelings or emotions much. But my dad expressed from a place of having an absent father growing up. Therefore, adapting the mindset of I will be a better father. And in that, he made sure he was always able to provide. Translation, in my or a child's mind, he was always at work. Always. It was more like handle it, be strong, keep moving, don't make everything a big deal. So I learned early how to keep my feelings to myself, especially if I tried to say something and it didn't sound like what they wanted to hear. Baby, as soon as it sounded like it was going left, they cut that shit short expeditiously. If something hurt, I internalized it. If something confused me, I figured it out alone. If I felt sad or unsure, I pushed it down. Not because anyone sat me down and said, don't feel. Nah, but it was because the environment showed me that emotions, weren't something you expressed openly. For a long time, for a long time, let's just say I adapted that and I mastered that shit. When you don't feel emotionally safe expressing what's happening inside you, you start storing it. You become the strong one, the quiet one, the one who handles it, the one who doesn't complain. And people start describing you that way. She's so mature. She's so independent. Damn, she's strong. But sometimes that strength is just unprocessed emotion. We know where to go. I learned to move through life without showing when I felt hurt, without showing I felt confused, without showing when I needed reassurance. I became self contained, and self contained can look like strength, while quietly feeling alone. Here's something I realized in therapy. When you grow up feeling emotionally unseen, you develop a deep desire to feel chosen, not just included, chosen. To feel like someone sees you, understands you, prioritizes you, connects with you emotionally, chosen. But if you don't understand where that desire comes from, you can start looking for it in all the wrong places. And boy, I looked and I found the wrong kind. Just stay tuned and you'll hear it all. I never imagined that I would be sharing my life like this, but I'm on a journey to self sufficiency. I need to see and love myself for once. You can start accepting attention as connection, inconsistencies as affection, and effort as proof of love. All lies. Because something in you is still trying to fill that emotional gap. It's still trying to feel seen, still trying to feel valued, still trying to feel emotionally held. I didn't walk around saying I feel emotionally abandoned. Who does? I mean, hell no. But what I did do is I just kept moving, kept achieving, kept being strong, kept being independent. But underneath that independence was a quiet longing to feel emotionally chosen. That word again, chosen. To feel like someone saw me. I mean, really saw me. Not just what I did, not just what I accomplished, not just what I provided. Me, just me. And when you haven't fully acknowledged that emotional gap, you can sometimes tolerate situations that give you pieces of that feeling instead of the full thing. Because pieces feel better than nothing, right? When you've been emotionally hungry, pieces, I'll take that. But again, this isn't about blaming anyone. My parents worked hard. They did what they knew how to do. They made sure I was taken care of. They showed love in the ways that they understood. But healing requires honesty. And honesty requires acknowledging that emotional needs exist too. Not just physical needs, not just financial needs, not just structural stability, emotional connection matters. Emotional presence matters. Emotional safety, that shit matter too. And when those feelings feel limited in childhood, we adapt in ways that follow us into adulthood. What I'm learning now is that emotional abandonment doesn't have to be defined. It doesn't have to define me. I can acknowledge it without living inside it. I can understand where that longing came from without letting it control my choices. I can learn to give myself the emotional presence I once looked for outside of me. That's the work, not blaming the past, not rewriting history, but understanding how I became who I am. So I came, so I can choose differently moving forward. I'm working on me, y'all. Bear with me, but stick with me. You can be provided for and still feel emotionally alone. You can be surrounded by people and still feel unseen. And you can grow up strong while quietly craving emotional connection. This is week 1, episode 3, the emotional abandonment wound. Tomorrow, I'll be talking about how I became the strong one. So, again, stay with me. I have a lot to unpack.